All right, buckle up, buckaroos. This is probably going to be a long one. No, Avatar: The Way of Water. Here we are. I just saw it. I just came back from the theater. Literally, I should not have went to the 9 p.m. showing. Fuck no, it's a 3 hour long movie. No, it's literally like 1 a.m. right now. Oh, I'm gonna do this now though. I'm gonna get this out as quick as possible. That's what's gonna happen. Oh my god. What a movie, guys. This shit's crazy. I don't know how I'm gonna edit this video. Probably very minimal editing, just me talking honestly. Let me just give some context before I actually start the review. Um, I'm gonna talk about like my general thoughts about the movie. I'm sorry if I ramble. I'm sorry if I miss any like excruciating details. I only saw it once. I literally just saw it. So these are just my first impressions. Even though I did take extensive notes at the theater, man, I haven't been in a theater in so long, guys. Crazy down there. Super expensive. Anyway, so I'm sorry if that happens. I'm trying to get into it. Let's just get into it. Uh, First of all, I like the movie. I enjoyed the movie, but it has major problems. We'll get into those problems. They're annoying, extremely annoying problems. For instance, Kiri, oh my god, if I'm saying her name right, sorry if I get names wrong. I can't like remember like every name in this movie. Fuck no. Yeah. So generally, I like the movie. If I was gonna rate it after only like a first viewing, I'd rate it a 7. It's enjoyable. It's almost like the movie, which it makes sense because the movie is definitely like the script for the movie or this film was definitely like written with like over a decade ago for sure. Which like it took over a decade to make the movie. But wow, you don't see movies like this anymore. Like extremely family oriented and just like about the general like camaraderie between people and relationships and between the family and like what they're doing. Like whoa, this is crazy. I'm super surprised it's like that, and which is nice actually. It's a nice change from all the like the sludge we've been getting recently from like other films that have been we've been so stale in their viewingship and like what they're about. But even though I would say that nothing about this movie is like particularly good. As far as like the sequel, I think it's definitely more original, slightly more original than the first movie. Because we all know the first movie is pretty much beat for beat a Pocahontas ripoff. We all know it. This movie has some of those problems too. It has a lot of the same like science bad. Science bad, nature good, capitalism bad, nature good stuff that's in this film. It's all the same like messaging of the first film. Not like as ham-fisted, but still there. But it's also like family oriented at the same time. So it's an interesting mix. And for the most part, it works okay. So I enjoy the movie, but we're gonna talk about its problems. I'm gonna summarize like exactly what happens. Let's see my notes here. So I'm sorry if I I'm still getting jambled. Let me see like what I can talk about the movie. First off, okay, so this is immediately. So the first act actually it happens pretty fast. Even though it's a 3 hour movie, the first half a lot of things happen. A lot of things happen. We got like our voiceover with Jake Sully, Jacques, Jacques Sully. Oh my God, my Jake. My Jake, my Jake. Oh my God, it's so funny. Immediately, for no reason at all, Grace, if you remember her, Sigourney Weaver's character from the first movie, she died. She fucking died in that movie. But for some reason, somehow, they collected her body. For whatever reason, she was pregnant. Even though her body is dead, her baby was growing inside her, and she just spat out a child out of no. It's horribly explained, extremely vague. It makes no sense at all. It's literally it just happened so fast. It's like it literally just happened. The very first scene of the movie. It's incredible. It's ridiculous too. So this like. I believe this is a theory of mine, and I don't think it's uncommon because it's so like the writers are so like on the nose about how Awa is like a living being or the planet is a living organism. You know, almost like Ego from Marvel Comics. You know how like Ego is a living planet. Awa is like foreshadowed in in these two films as a living being or organism with its own mind, and it can like do things. Those things are extremely vague, and it seems to me that like Awa's the progenitor, the Navi race, which would explain how almost every living creature on Pandora is evolved in a way that helps the Navi species, literally. Because the Navi are they're like the most apex of apex predators, that they're just able to control and connect with every other creature on Pandora, which is like fucking insane. How evolutionary? How is that possible? So it seems like Awa, their god, maybe a woman in some respects, or the planet in some other respects, is the reason for this. And Awa has her own mind that we're just not completely aware of yet, and it's being like foreshadowed throughout the film and through the first film through a long time. And it's not. It's sort of still vague-ish, like what exactly that means. Like, is this god real? Is the planet real? Does it have its own intelligence? We don't know yet. I'm sure we'll get those answers in the next like few movies, and there's supposed to be like 3 more movies that are supposed to come out. We'll all be like fucking old men by the time we're able to watch them. It'll be like another 30 years before we can actually see any of them. It'll be hilarious. So just disregarding that for a second, we'll go back to Kiri and her role. So Kiri is she's almost like Anakin. Literally, actually, she has like special powers, and she's connected to Awa. No one knows who impregnated Grace. No one knows, and no one knows how she was even birthed. So it seems like Awa herself was connected to Grace in some way, and through Awa's divinity, gave birth to Grace, gave birth to Kiri, which is essentially a clone of Sigourney Weaver's Grace, but with her own personality. Shit gets weird with Kiri. She's one of the she's literally Anakin. She has actual like powers when she's like connecting her halo to other things on Pandora. It's insane. So this is just immediately in the first act. Then we get like a big time skip. So immediately we're passing through time. Jake Sully, my Jake, and her Natiri, is it Natiri? Because the Navi people in Natiri, I believe, whatever, Jake's wife, Zoe Saldana. They have kids now, and the years pass, and we get some exposition on what's been happening with Jake. And after the Sky People, quotes the humans, after they left Pandora. And it's been many years. Jake has a family now, and this is his family. So he basically adopted Kiri, Grace's weird Anakin child, forced child. He has 2 sons and a daughter. So basically, he has 4 children, as well as the 5th child, which is a human. We're going to spoil it right now. Oh my god, major spoilers, by the way. How did I miss that? Major spoilers. I'm sorry. I'm spoiling the whole movie, alright? Fuck off if you don't care. I already spoiled Kiri. So, I guess. So, the 5th child, Spider. His name is Spider. He's a human. We find out he's actually the Colonel's son. He just kind of pops out of nowhere. He was never hinted in the first movie. He's just here now. His real name is Miles. Not his real name. Or his human name is Miles. The Colonel. The Colonel from the first movie. He's just there. He was a cryo baby. It's explained as cryo baby, but he couldn't go back to Earth because he was a child, I guess, and it's like children can't survive cryo, so he's just left there, and I guess all the humans forgot about him, and so he's left with the scientists that stayed from the first movie. The ones we know, the scientists that from the first movie have like no real role in this movie. They're pretty shafted throughout the entire film. They have some scenes, but not a lot. Anyway, he stays with them, but he like goes to where Jake and his family are, all the natives, and like hangs out with them. He learns the language. He's basically an enhanced human, essentially. Even though he's like really young. Anyway, he's important to the film. Spider. He is the Colonel's son, biological son. So some humans still remain the science guys. We already knew that. Okay. This is some crazy shit. This is all like the first like 10 minutes of movie. We get a lot of exposition and like time passing. Humans return. And immediately as they return, their ships fucking essentially nuke like a large portion of the planet. Oh my god! Like literally, it's a magnificent scene. Oh my god! I should also say this is. Let me just get out of the way because it's so easy. It doesn't even need any like mention, but I'll mention it anyway. The CGI, it's as brilliant as the first film. We all knew that would happen though. You know, it took like 13 years to make this film, right? So obviously the CGI would be good. We would all be disappointed if it wasn't. That's really the big thing about the first movie anyway, the brilliance of the filmmaking and the CGI and the scene direction. It's all the same in this film. It's exactly what you would expect, which is great. It is great. You know, but we have to talk about all the other things first. So I have to mention it though because it is part of the film. It's good. All right. Moving back onto the plot, we have so the Sky People return. There's a huge scene where they basically nuke a large section of the planet. Jake sees it, his family, and they're like, "Holy shit!" Right? The humans are back. They expected this, but it didn't seem like they were actually preparing for like the humans to return. Because why? I don't know why wouldn't they be preparing? And then we get another time skip. We get a year into the future. And we get a lot of scenes. Basically, Jake and his family and his people, now the natives, are literally at war with the humans, and they're basically like it's guerrilla warfare. They're insurgents, and they're attacking, like ships from the humans and trains, and they're trying to destroy their supply lines and stuff like that. It's a lot like Vietnam, and in terms of like how are they conducting this warfare, and it's sort of taking a toll on like Jake's people and everything. But before that, so the colonel comes back in this film. So he did die in the first film. Now he's back. So it's explained that before he went on the mission to go hunt all the Navi people in the first film, there's a recording where they literally created their own avatars. Yes, their own avatars, their own Navi avatars, the colonel and his men, and they transplanted their memories into these like USB sticks and then put them into the avatars in order to create like a pseudo clone of themselves. They're younger and stronger, and the colonel's back. So this new avatar of the colonel and his men, they have all their memories. So they are literally essentially the colonel because they are clones, but they have their memories, so they're technically the same person. At the same time, they're not. You could make arguments about whether they're the same person or people. I would say they are because they have their memories, and they're the same feelings from when they were human. Now they're just avatars, and this is their last life. I mean, I guess technically, they've. It's weird, right? Because technically, you could take even more memories from these people and keep creating avatars, right? Isn't that possible? Or they don't have the technology for that? I don't know why, but you could essentially do that. I don't see why you couldn't. You could continuously keep making backups of yourself now as clones. So, like, if anyone dies, you could just keep making more clones, right? And you would have the memory sticks, and you just keep making them. Essentially an immortal army. Like anyone could do that, and you could keep making like stronger, better, younger bodies. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. So that'll probably never come back because that like fucks up. I think maybe not large portions of the narrative, but being able to like clone people infinitely, that's a huge problem. Like, listen, it's a huge problem, isn't it? You don't, for the army, they should be doing that like on every day. As soon as someone dies, oh, we have a backup of you. It's all right, and we can just back you up as an avatar. They could probably just make regular human clones too, but I guess it's essentially better just to make the not the native clones, because they're native to the planet and they can breathe the atmosphere. Anyway, there so yeah, guerrilla warfare, stealing supplies, lots of family oriented scenes, a lot of strong family dynamic with Jake and his kids. So he has the older son and the younger son. The younger son's kind of a fuck up. And the older son's like the stronger warrior. They're both like young though. They're like the older son's maybe 17ish to 16ish, and the younger son's maybe like 14. They're very close. They're very close with Jake. They have a strong family like Jake is very protective of them obviously, as well as Natiri. If I'm saying her name right, it might be completely different. So I like that about the movie though. This strong family like dynamic is exuded throughout the entire film as we're getting to know these characters for what happens at the end of the movie. Now, I would say it's a little lackluster for one of the brothers. I would say the older brother. We get a lot more time with the younger brother than we do with the older one, and we get a lot more time with Kiri as well. They're more important to the story and the plot. But it's still, nonetheless, it's something that hasn't happened a lot in modern movies. So I just want to praise it for a second. I enjoy the emotions from this family and what they're doing. Um, okay, so we get to like Sky People City. Earth is trying to make Pandora its new home now, officially. There's no really any mention of the unobtainium, worst name ever. In this movie, we have something new now that's like the unobtainium, but it's somehow even more stupid. We'll get to that when it comes, because it shows up like at near like the third act of the film. It's insane how retarded it is. But anyway, the humans made an entire city now on the planet in 1 year. They have more technology. They've like putting more and more resources into Pandora because the Earth is dying in some way, shape, or form. We don't see the Earth. So yeah, we're getting the Colonel and his men are being put on a mission to basically kill off the natives. Very reminiscent of the Manifest Destiny stuff that happened in America. Although all those like messaging, there's a lot of things in this movie that like mirrors what happens in our own history on Earth. The shows like the movie is very ham-fisted about that. Like there's tons of like connections between the humans' past and like what's happening now on Pandora. It's obvious. We all know it. Anyway, all right. So yeah, Grace's avatar connected to Awa in some way. It's not. It's very vague. We don't know what that means. All right. So within that like span of time, the Colonel and his men are now on mission to like go find Jake because they want payback. So they're like investigating, just places on Pandora, and they come to the last place. It was the place where Jake's wife killed the old Colonel, the human version of the Colonel, and they go there. And at the same time, how unlucky and how convenient that all of Jake's kids are like exploring this area along with Spider. He's there too because he's important. And they're just there, and they're looking at these new people, and they're like, oh shit, these are humans. The humans are here, and things go off the rails from there. Basically, at the end of the day, the kids try to escape. They fail. The Colonel, he apprehends them, but in time, Jake and his wife, they end up saving his kids. Good for them. They end up getting there and helping them. They kill a bunch of people. Like, they kill a lot of people. The big takeaway from this is the fact that Spider is the only one to be actually apprehended. So the Colonel's son is being taken away. The Colonel realizes that Miles is all grown up. He realizes this is his son, or his former body's son technically, but it's still his son. They apprehend him and they start to literally torture Spider. They want to know exactly where the resistance is hiding. I say resistance, basically where Jake's like mode of operations are for fighting the humans. They torture Spider. They put him through actual torture, like mind-brain torture, almost like Star Warsy like torture. And it's pretty rough until the Colonel, which is I would say. This is also good. We get more like characterization from the Colonel. The Colonel is a man who doesn't take no shit, but he has a little bit more depth in this movie. He has now a new connection. He has a connection to his son that he likes his son. He's not a good father per se, not like Jake, where Jake is actually more attentive to his kids and didn't leave him on an alien planet to defend for himself. But there's more depth to our like main villain. The Colonel's like our main villain. He's not actually dead by the end of this movie too. They do some weird shit with him. Okay, so after this event, after Jake's kids were taken, they get them back. Jake is now super scared for his children's life. He's not so much scared for his own. So there's a lot of depth here. For Jake's character too. He's now like he has a family to worry about. It's been a year since they've been fighting the humans. Now that he's being literally hunted, like specifically targeted by the Colonel. He knows the Colonel's like new and alive and has this new body. He's worried now for his family. So he takes it upon himself to relinquish his title as Turuk Maktal, if I'm saying that correctly. And he relinquishes that title as leader and literally fucks off. He fucks off with his family. We're leaving. We're getting the fuck out of here. We're going to go to where the sea monkeys are. We're going to live with them. For some reason, literally bringing the war to the sea clans. And that's another like big plot point. So that's actually like the end of Act 1. Act 1's like about 40 minutes to an hour, where we get all this information. We get our new characters. We're building up our new characters, our family, our connections between them. Our villains are back, and now we're moving on to new things. So this is like the main. The second act is probably the most boring, but it's also the most interesting. It's more like the first half of the first movie, where we're getting introduced to more world building, and it seems like the sea. It's just like the forest people. How so it's great. How do I explain this? Okay, so I think I've like said this before. There are like tons of weird evolutionary issues between. I literally did say it. How like everything on the planet is specifically like tailored for the Navi's usage, and all these creatures are specifically made for the Navi. It just doesn't make sense evolutionarily. Like creatures can adapt to each other. Like humans have adapted with dogs, right? And we use dogs in our daily lives because dogs were useful to us when we were evolving as a species, and we sort of evolved together. We domesticated them. But it seems like almost every creature, even without like real domestication, is just somehow tailored to the Navi and with their purpose on this planet Pandora. It doesn't make sense. So we get to the people at the sea. It's a sort of longish journey, a few days, flying at sea till we get to the sea people. So the second half of the film is literally world building the sea. We get to find new sea creatures, how the sea clans operate. Now the sea clan, they're essentially the same as the Na'vi, except evolutionarily they're a little bit different. They have like lighter blue skin. They're still weird like cat people, but now they're like fish cats. They have they have like tails that are evolutionarily designed to help you swim. So they're like more flippery and less hairy than the forest Navis. And they have arms that are a bit thicker and are easier to help you swim. They don't have gills, but you'd think that like they would have gills. But if the movie's gonna go that far to explain like that the sea clans are evolutionary like better at swimming, and they have these appendages that help them swim, that they would have gills, but they don't. But they can breathe longer underwater. It's not shown just how how large is their lung capacity. It seems that they could basically stay underwater indefinitely even without gills, so they can take large breaths of air. At most, I wouldn't. It doesn't seem like there's an upper limit. We don't get to see that upper limit. We do get to see that for the forest people or Jake's family. And again, let me reiterate: it is only Jake's family that is going to the sea clans, literally just to get away from the war, because he's being specifically targeted by the Colonel and the humans, because they want to get rid of him. So he's like, oh, I'm going to make, I don't want to endanger my people here at the forest, so I'm going to leave and do that stuff. The second half of this movie, literally just training in the water. We learn a whole new array of things just from being near the sea clans. And we don't give a shit about the forest anymore. It's all about the sea, guys. We don't care about water, all right? James Cameron, we only care about water. It's what we care about. Water. Oh my god. That's all we care about. James Cameron is obsessed with water. There a lot of things happen here. We train here. Jake's family train. They do new things. They get connected to other, the sea cats. And there's like relationship stuff going on here that isn't like fully fleshed out yet. It'll probably be more fleshed out in the next movie, but that's all right. Um, so a lot of things happen. Literally learning about the way of water. There's actual dialogue. As far as the dialogue goes, about I should mention this too. I'm so sporadic right now, talking about trying to summarize the plot in the movie and what I feel. The dialogue, it's all right. It's about as it's not cringy in any way, but it is sort of generic in that sense. But it's okay. It's not bad. There's some good dialogue. There's also some really good action scenes in this movie too. And it's not perfect, guys. There's nothing like perfect about this movie. It's still really enjoyable to watch. Especially more enjoyable than any other film this year or last year or the year before in a long time. Actually, this is the film for normies. It's fun for everyone, and in a way, I normally wouldn't like that. But in a sense, I'm glad it is because it works for this movie and it's fun to watch. Not it doesn't have the best things about it, but it's still enjoyable. All right, so we get to some like more important things. Jake's kids get bullied because they look different, because they look like forest people and they don't look like fish cats. And one of the kids, the younger brother, he has a scrap with death from a big fish, but that's okay because he gets saved by even a bigger fish. And by bigger fish, I mean literally a whale. Yes, there are more creatures that are like our own on here on Earth, literally like replicated. We get to the big whale fishes. So now this is where it gets like super fucky. We're getting to like some super weird fucky territory here. The big fish, the whales, they have like actual intelligence. They can speak. Not in like the language of the Navi. They don't have their. They have like weird like they're literally whales, so they have their like siren song whales. What they do. I forget what it's called, but that's essentially the same thing of how they communicate, and you can all like understand them. They have a language. They have a relationship with the sea clans, and it's supposed to be like a migratory pattern. How they refer to these whales as like their brothers and sisters. You can connect to them with the halo. Um, Now Kiri has a force vision. We're gonna skip a little bit because there's again a lot of like the second act is about training and learning the cultures of the way of water and that all that world bending until we get to some like real plot points. For instance, and so this is gonna be like probably fleshed out more in the future. Kiri has literally like a force vision when she attaches her halo to one of the trees, one of like the home trees. There's one in the Sea Clans underwater, and it's like a giant area where you get to attach your halo to feel. Remember like from the first movie when they did that, the trees hanging down from uh the sky, and you attach your halo to it and you could hear the voices of your ancestors. It's essentially the same thing. But when Kiri does it, she just like literally has a force vision of Sigourney Weaver through Awash. So she sees her mother and can talk to her mother, not just like hear her voice, specifically like see her and talk to her like an actual vision. Now it's super vague whether like this vision is real or not. It seems like it is. It's super wacky in that sense. Like what the fuck is going on? We're getting into actual like force visions now with the halo, and you can literally like see your dead relatives or whatever. It's wacky. Anyway, because of this event, she has a literal like seizure underwater, and this event is actually really important because because of this she gets really sick and she's unconscious. So Jake calls his scientist friends that are still around like the forest doing their own thing. We don't really get to see what they're doing or how they're handling the war with the humans, but they come over. They try to heal Kiri, but they can't. Essentially, one of the moms, one of the shamans, I should say. I guess I would call them shamans. Whatever. She's freaky deaky witch doctor. Leader. She's the wife of the leader of the Sea Clans, and she helps Kiri do some weird. She does some weird like magic shit. It's not explained, and it's apparently weird magic shit is how you heal people, not science. Right? Remember what I said in the beginning? Science is bad, guys. We don't like science. All right? Capitalism bad, nature good, mystical, magical, weird, sentient planet energy. That's real. And Kiri gets healed and cries after that. Anyway, because of this event, they tracked down the scientist people. They located their signature through the plane that they came through, and they find, oh well, Jake must be in this central area of this of the clans, and apparently the clans are huge. We only get to see, I think, two of them. We stay with one of them, but there's apparently hundreds of different like villages of the Sea Clans. We just don't see them all, and they're all like around this giant like archipelago of islands, and it's fucking massive. So Pandora's like huge, right? Like much larger than Earth. So that that makes sense. Like the planet is just like fucking massive. We just don't get to see all of it, but we do see like a large, semi. I wouldn't say a large, a semi-large portion of the world and like what's happening. As as far as like geography goes, we only know like a few landmarks on the planet, like from these films that we can like turn to figure out like where we are on the planet. But aside from that, this is how the Colonel, he's gonna come up with a plan to find Jake, because that's what he wants. He wants to find Jake. Yeah, other things. We can literally get like direct memory sharing now. So the younger brother directly shares his memory with the big fish, the whale. And it's creepy now. So we didn't get to see this in the first film. So apparently, other creatures, when you connect your Halo to them, you could just see their memories and what they've been up to in their lives. It's insane. So this is like whole new territory with like the Halo and the connection to AWA, all this weird, creepy, wacky shit that's happening. Oh, it's just not it's not explained well, right? So it's aggravating. So it's done extremely. It's like its own weird magic system that's you can't really do anything with it except like connect with different creatures and become friends with them. It's pretty funny. Anyway, the Colonel's gonna use like the big fish, the big whales. They're literally gonna go whaling. They're gonna like the 1700s, like fishing for oil, basically. Except instead of oil, this is what they're gonna find, and it's honestly horrible. All right, so this is what mirrors the unobtainium. We're like 2 hours into the movie now, by the way. I've sort of skipped some details. I'm sorry. But this is extremely important because it's retarded. All right, so these people, the humans, have been hunting these whales for an undetermined amount of time, at least a year, and they found out hunting these whales, like hunting sperm whales, you get the oil from inside them. Well, then with these whales, instead of oil, you get fish cum, yellow fish cum inside their brains, and what this fish cum does, it essentially makes you immortal. Literally, not joking. It makes you immortal. Do I need to explain the implications of finding this like weird goo inside this alien whale that can turn humans immortal? Literally, it's explained. It stops aging entirely. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Oh, ridiculous, guy. It's fucking ridiculous. Why would they? Why? Why didn't you just stick with the unobtainium? Just do that. We don't know what like actual use unobtainium has in the story. It seems it's like foregone in this movie. It's not talked about at all. Now we have this weird fish goo that can literally stop aging. Ugh. Stop it. You already introduced cloning, infinite clones, and memory exchanging. Why do you need immortality goo? Why do you need whale cum to stop you from aging? Imagine you just lather that shit all over your body. Oh, give me that alien cum. Oh, all the weebs in the world crying in lust. Oh my god. So that's a thing now. Just scavenging like yellow cum in the heads of these whales. All right, it's a thing now. I hope they just don't even bring it back in the next movie. I really hope they just don't. It's an essential plot point for like hunting these whales to get this goo, and I don't like it. Anyway, there's a funny scene where they're hunting these whales, and one of the whale hunters is like, "Damn, this beaut, she took an explosive harpoon to the test." To the chest, I'm sorry, and still running. Beautiful. It's just really funny. I don't know why. All right, so the colonel is hunting these whales to basically try and like draw out Jake and his family, and it sort of works because well, in a roundabout way, because Jake knows they find out about these whales being hunted and what's happening, the Sea Clans, and Jake is like, oh, this the colonel, he's trying to set up a trap for us now. But Jake knows this, so he's not like intervening. He can't really intervene anyway. He's under the protection of the Sea Clan, and he's really just trying to like become a Sea Clan member so he can, stay there and not be part of the war anymore, right? But the kids are troublemakers, right? They're troublemakers. So they're going around, they're trying to help the whales cuz they're nice kids. Jake taught his kids well. But they don't know like, the whole story, right? So they're trying to help these whales. Unfortunately, right at the same time, how convenient, as they're trying to help a whale, oh, the humans arrive. A little too convenient, I might add. So it's pretty funny how that happens. Like just at this exact moment, this exact time, kids helping these whales, they get attacked by the sky people. This is some more like weird fucky shit. We're at the third act of the movie now. The kids get captured. Big fishies try to help, and now the big fight starts. And Kiri, of course, is this weird, like, mystical chosen one. I already pretty much said that, but that's all right. So lots of things happen now. So Spider is also here now. He's been with the Colonel this entire time, and the Colonel's been doing stuff too. He actually, the Colonel, he got his own like dragon thing. I'm not sure what they're called. The flyer, and he caught one with his halo. So now he has one. He didn't name it. It's not. Anyway, Spider's been with him, and they've been connecting. Father and son, the Colonel and his human son. Um, so a lot of things are happening now. The big fight starts. Chaos is erupting around like the battlefield. Um, Jake's kids are getting captured. They get uncaptured. They get captured again. It's just like this revolving battle that happens for like an hour of just like constant, literally chaos of trying to like beat the Colonel and his men. Now some sad things happen in this instance. We're gonna talk about it right now. Okay, so the two brothers, Jake's sons, they save Spider. Spider was being captured. Spider's not like on with the Colonel. He like sort of wants to be connected to his father in a way, but he's not really. He's more if anything, he's Jake's like adoptive son, like his third son, his fifth kid. The brothers, they want to save Spider. They know he's there, so they go after him, and they do. They save Spider. They get him back. Unfortunately, in the act of saving Spider, the big brother, I'm so like sad. I think his name is Emeti. I think it's his name, Etmeti or something. Whatever it is, it's a really sad scene. He gets shot and he dies. He literally dies. Jake's son is dead. The older brother's dead. It's this big emotional scene where Jake is trying to save him, but there's really nothing he can do. The bullet like passed through his heart, out through the back, and he's dead. That's it. He's dead, and it's super. I really love this scene. I was like, wow, this is pretty. When I was watching it in the theater at the moment, I was like, holy shit, this is super emotional. I didn't think they'd do this. They killed a kid. Oh wow, crazy. All because of this war, right? And it wasn't the Colonel didn't shoot him. It was some like random soldier. But it was super emotional, and everyone's crying. All the like family members are there, and Natiri goes fucking nuts. She's like, she wants like super revenge. Jake is like disappointed at his son because he thinks like he's caused this problem because the younger brother's like the one who's usually causing all this trouble for the older brother. I think though it would have been sadder if it was the younger brother that died, only for the fact that the younger brother was getting more screen time during this film than the older brother. We just had more scenes with the younger brother doing things, and it seemed, even though the older brother was seen as like better in a way to like Jake. I mean, we didn't get a lot of scenes with him. We got to know the younger brother a lot more. But it's still sad, like seeing their family being broken apart by like the Colonel in this war for Pandora, right? So I like this a lot. It was done pretty well. I think it would have been done better if the little brother had been shot instead. But we have what we have. We have our new characters. Shit gets crazy. We're getting into our final battle. At this point, some more of his kids get captured again, specifically Kiri and his daughter, his other daughter. So Jake and Neytiri storm in pretty much against the Colonel and his men, and we get like some pretty decent action scenes, where Jake and Neytiri are just fucking up people. They're like killing loads of dudes. It's pretty radical how much they're just like killing people. There's a lot more, not like gore in this movie, but there is some death. There's a lot of death in this movie. A lot of people getting shot, and there was an arm cut off at one point. Pretty crazy. During this scene, there's like the Colonel's like using Jake's kids as hostages, but he's not like holding a gun to their head, so it's not really like, you know, if he did do that, he would have been stopping like Jake from killing people, but he wasn't at the time for some reason. It didn't really make sense until he like finally does, and he's holding like a knife to Kiri's neck, and at that point, Neytiri sneaks up on Spider, the Colonel's son. Gets a knife to his neck. He's like, "I'll kill your son, you bitch." It's like there's some like crazy like bluff situation, hostage stuff going on, and it's actually really well done because we get more depth into the Colonel's characters. Like, oh no, he actually does care about Spider. It's like they were like connecting between like the second half of the movie when we saw some of their scenes. They were talking to each other, doing things, um, preparing to find Jake basically, and it seems like the Colonel actually cares about him, even though the Colonel's like a hard man, and really his ultimate goal is to just kill Jake. But he gives up on Kiri, killing Kiri. He has her as a hostage. He's like, "Wait, you have my son. I'll let go of her, and all right." Hostages exchanged. None of our kids have to die, but it's not done yet because we haven't finished the epic raid boss battle. All right, we're not done yet. Dark Souls raid boss hasn't ended. Jake and Colonel have a final fight where the ship they're on is sinking into the water, and it's like getting crazy. And it all culminates to when Jake literally strangles the Colonel underwater and effectively kills him. Except he doesn't kill him, because while this is happening, Neytiri and the kids are getting stuck underwater too. They're all getting separated. They're all like underwater in the ship, almost trapped. Spider finds his father, the Colonel, drags him out of the water onto shore, saves his father. Even though like that sort of doesn't make sense to me, because literally like Jake strangled him underwater, like drowned him basically. That would like destroy his lungs, but apparently not. He was underwater for like more than 10 minutes drowning. I don't he survived somehow. I don't know why, but he did. And it's a pretty like another crazy scene where Kiri is basically connecting to all the fish underwater with her weird mystical AWOL powers. See what happens. Everyone gets like Deus Ex Machina saved by Kiri. That was a little aggravating because it seemed like Jake was gonna die. Neytiri and Jake's daughter and their daughter were gonna die, but Kiri just like comes in, saves them all, and then Spider just saves Colonel because we need our big epic villain, for another movie, right? Why would they bring him back if they were just gonna kill him again in the second movie, right? That would have been hilarious. I literally thought that when Jake like strangled him underwater, like, oh, he's fucking dead again. why is he here? Why did you make a clone of him to just bring him back in this movie and then kill him again? No, they had to save him this way. I don't think this was the right decision. It should have been just like an escape moment after the bluff hostage exchange between Spider and Jake's daughter, Kiri. But it's whatever, I guess. We need our big Colonel for another movie where they're gonna do something. Maybe we're gonna have more deaths, probably. Whatever future theories you want to think about. And that was the big epic battle. And Sullys stick together, guy. We stick together, right? The Sullys, the Sully family. um, so that's basically the end of the movie. After that, we get our like sort of after credits. Our family, the Jakes, they have a funeral, a really nice, touching funeral for the older brother, and they're literally like on board with the way of water. It's said that like Jake is like the Sea Clans are our new home. Basically, fuck the forest people. We don't like no forest cats. They're gay, dude. We like sea monkeys. That's where we're at, right? The water. We're obsessed with water. It's literally like we just sort of forget about the forest and the other clans. Okay. But now Jake is all on board after the death of his son. He's all on board on fighting the humans again. He's like, no, this is our battle. We have to do this, otherwise our way of life is going to get destroyed. The humans are going to fuck everything up. Science bad, nature good. We got to kill the humans. Now the war, and now that's basically the end of the movie. Wow, what a crazy movie, right, guys? What a uh, barring barring all the like the ridiculous shit about like infinite cloning and the infinite aging being becoming immortal as a film, it has some really good things in it. Things that you just don't see in a long time. It's like I haven't seen in a long time. It's like a movie that was made literally a decade ago, because it probably was. The script was made like right when the first script was made, so it's a completely different film and written in a different way than any movie of this year. And just for that, it's slightly more original than anything I've seen in a long time. And it's nicely, there's a lot of emotions with like Jake's family, and that character development is really carried over into this film, and it's done well. It's not bad. There may be some mishaps between some characters. Maybe some dialogue isn't the best. Um, but that whole instance for the film is done. I liked it. I like it a lot. It's done well. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy that aspect of the film. Some other things, there were some janky, like, I don't know if it was because of the film, like the theater I was at, and they had some like weird frame drops in between some scenes. I don't know if, like, the resolution of where the like the backdrop of the film where I was watching it, they just couldn't like handle the frames, so it looked kind of weird in 4K. It looked a little bit janky sometimes, but other than that, the CGI was pretty brilliant. The story and plot were not as generic as the first film, and slightly more original. There were a lot more things to do in this film because it's a longer film. It's 3 hours, slightly longer than the first film. I can't remember exactly how long the first film was. It was like 2 hours, 2.5 maybe. But essentially my general thoughts for the movie. I really enjoy it. I'm just gonna. These are my first impressions. I'm sure I could like pick out even some more things if I saw it a second time, and I believe I'm going to see it a second time sometime in the future. I don't know if I'm gonna make another video on it though, but just to like recollect my thoughts and figure out like how I feel about the movie. Other than that though, I really enjoy it. I would say go see it. It's worth the ticket. This movie's worth the ticket, and I don't say that a lot because I don't go to movie theaters anymore. I generally don't do that. I don't like going to theaters, paying money for a movie that I'm probably gonna dislike. There's some weird fucky things in this film, but as far as a film goes, is it a cinematic masterpiece? No, but I believe you will enjoy it. There are a lot of things I like about it. I think that's it, guys. I've talked for such a long time right now. Man, how do you guys feel about this movie? It's been like a long review, right? It's crazy how it took like 13 years for this movie to get made, and we're gonna get. I believe the next film is coming out like a year or two from now too. So finally, we're gonna get like more Avatar. I thought my theater was packed when I went into this film. Fucking packed. Every like showing was packed. I had horrible seats, like right up in the front. I hate that. But people are super excited about this movie, which is insane because it's taken so long for it to come out, right? Like, I thought interest was generally gone on this movie. I didn't think anyone really gave a shit at all. But I guess I was wrong. I mean, that's just opening weekend though, so who knows how like the film's gonna do. I still believe the first film was the highest grossing movie in movie history. Still, even now, who knows if this is even gonna come close? Will it make a billion? Definitely. I think it'll make a billion. How will it be received by people? I think people are generally going to receive this movie as being good. It's definitely a normie movie, fun for the whole family. Literally, it's about like the movie is centered around one family, and it's one of those films that are like high in spectacle, and there is some substance underlying it. Like underlying undertones. There's some like substantive undertones within the movie that you can grasp onto, and it's done okay. Not the best, but it's done okay. Along with really weird shit about immortality, but I think people are gonna probably brush past that. Like, whatever. Fish give immortality. Also, big whale fish smarter than even the Navi for some reason. Uh, you know, other than like the messaging in the movie, it's about as ham-fisted as the first one. Those undertones are completely obvious to everyone watching it, or they should be anyway. If you know about like American history, the relation between those are super obvious. So essentially, I do like the movie. I think I'm finally done rambling. Tell me what you guys think. Please tell me. I want to know. And I guess that's it, guys. I'm gonna get this out as soon as possible. Have a nice night. See ya.